Welcome to part 3 of my Envi block firewood ash versus split log firewood ash. Here we have our third cord that we're going to be burning. This cord is from 2.5 to 3 foot round logs that I've collected. We're going to vacuum out this cord because I know there's going to be more debris. Typically you'll find more debris in a tree trunk, people hanging birdhouses, clotheslines, etc. We're going to also weigh this cord out. I want to know what a cord of wood weighs in ash, and I'll also weigh out the ash from the Envi blocks to see what that weighs out to. I anticipate less vacuuming here because this is all oak, where the first cord was all maple. There's 16 vacuums on that cord, and the second cord was a quarter maple and 3/4 oak, and that was about 11 vacuumings. I've got here's a piece of contaminated wood. You can see how, like inside there, the dirt that's in there, that's actually part dirt. It's regurgitation from the insects' feces as they make their tunnels. That's what they make their tunnels from. And that's contaminated wood for you. A piece that's been chewed up. So it's January 27th. We're supposed to get about 8 inches. We wound up with 14 to 16 inches. And here's our last cord of firewood. So all of our hardcore firewood burners, guys who chop their own wood, split their own wood, are loving us right now because they bought a pallet of Envi blocks, and in days like this is exactly why they bought it. So they don't have to come out and get their wood, run to the back of their field getting their wood. They can burn the blocks so all this gets cleared out. There's a little chimney that you may have seen in the other videos. There's our garden chimney and quite a bit of snow. Once again, I'm still out here getting firewood because I'm doing an ash test. And once this ash test is done, that's it. I'll just be burning the blocks. Another nail. So one of the things I refer back to is the contaminants that's in your firewood. You'll see these pieces here, these nails. These nails came from mostly the first cord. There were 1 or 2 pieces found in the second cord. The first cord was vacuumed out. That's why we were able to find these pieces. The second cord was shoveled out. So we didn't find a whole lot because they were thrown away with the ash. But that's the beauty of vacuuming out your stove. You really get to see some of the things that are in your stove. Now there wasn't a lot in the first cord because the first cord was a lot of maple branches. There were a lot of logs that were branches, not from the trunk. That's one of the reasons why we had a lot of ash, because the tree bark, burning the tree bark versus the core of the wood, makes a lot more ash. This pile here, with all these nails, and this is not even all of them. I did vacuum up some of the other nails by accident that were in there. So that counts as part of your ash pile. I do have a magnet on the side of the ash can to try to fish some of these nails out. So I do always try to fish them out before I weigh the ash. But there's a lot more nails here, and the reason for this is this oak that I'm burning is a lot of tree trunk. And when you're burning the trunk, the lower part of the tree, that's where most people tend to hang birdhouses and signs and things like that. So you're always going to have a lot more contaminants in that type of firewood, nails and pieces. So we're going to continue to do this, but again, this is just from the first vacuuming. So here's another piece of wood out of that same pile, that third cord, and here's a sack, another spider sack. Open this up. I opened this up, and here we got another spider in here. This guy could be dead, could be defrosted. So what you can see is probably more spiders in this pile This pile has been sitting the longest. It's been sitting since November of 2009, and so it's got more time to collect spiders and for insects to hibernate. And keep in mind, this is the stuff that I have found. You know, in these cracks here could be other insects that are hibernating. This is only the stuff that I have found. What you'll see here is our bucket corner, or firewood. I used to keep wood on a rack in here. I had a Woodland Direct rack. I've sold it since I've been using the Envi blocks, but I keep everything in buckets because it helps contain a lot of the mess. Not all of it, as you can see. You still get a lot of mess, but it does help contain it, and a lot of the runoff when it snows or if the wood is wet gets caught up in the bucket. Unfortunately, the downside to this is now you look like a bucket man. You got bag ladies and you got bucket men, so now you look like a bucket man. Alright, we're out here in February, and out here loading our buckets up with firewood, and I actually pulled on this. You're really not going to notice it, but I pulled on this, and this was a lot bigger. It kind of just broke up. That's what people hate, the insects. These are spider sacs. Sometimes you might have dormant eggs or dormant spiders. This is typical of split firewood. I don't know if you can see that with all the sun. Where are we? Okay, this is the other half of the spider sack that was, you can see this is in our firewood when I was pulling out of the wood. If you notice the spider sack, look closely, you see all the rock type formation or dirt. What that is there are spiders in here that are alive. And they're in a dormant state. These spiders in here are alive. What they do is they take the dirt and they pack it, and they make a cocoon. And sometimes, if you have brick on your house and you look at your brick walls on the outside, somewhere around 7-8 feet, you may see some of these dirt sacks, and they have holes in them. If you catch them without the holes and you open them up, spiders come out of them. They're not always caterpillars or butterflies. You'll see spiders come out of them. This is how a spider makes it through the winter, so it can breed the following year. I'm tempted to open this up, but I don't really want to. This, I think I'm just going to throw right into the fireplace. But you can see the webbing on here. Now I know there's spiders in here. I mean, I've come across pieces like this and I've opened them up. Some people might say, well, how do you know it's not a caterpillar cocoon? I've opened, when I first came across these, I didn't know what they were, and I would crack them open, and I would open them up just to see what was in them, and sure enough, you get some dead spiders or spiders that are alive in there. And so that's how I know what's in here. They're time released. When it gets warm, the spiders assume when the temperatures drop, they assume it's springtime, so they work on a time release. So something like this could be released in your home. So this is why I use buckets to bring my firewood in. Not only to catch the debris you see here, but to catch any insects that may defrost out of your wood. And this is one of a few spiders that I have caught around the fireplace and in the buckets. If you look close enough here, what you can see is a little spider web, little triangular shape here. And if you follow my finger up, you'll see. And in the corner right here, this is our little guy. This is our spider, very much like the one that we saw in the bucket. This is not uncommon. Again, they defrost out of your firewood and they come out. I have found much larger spiders, some that look like they were ready to lay eggs, and some that were just pretty damn scary looking. And this is they're coming from right here, not too far, right where the firewood is.
So what you see here is the debris from the first and last cord. The second cord was shoveled out, so we wound up throwing out a lot of the nails and junk that was in that firewood. And this is not everything, because a lot of the stuff could have been vacuumed up, smaller pieces and smaller nails. This gray cable here, in the earlier videos, you may have seen some blue and green coloring. That's this cable melting. We happen to catch this piece where the others got away, and it's very toxic. It's extremely toxic. You don't want to be inhaling this. If you're burning the wood in your fire pit or in an open fireplace, just be aware of that. The rest of this debris, one of the things that people may do is use their firewood ash in a compost pile. And after a few rainstorms, what you're going to find is just a bunch of rusted nails. And depending where that pile is, you really got to be careful, because if you have pets or children walking around there and somebody steps on a rusted nail, you could have potential health problems. So just something to be aware of if you can use this in your compost pile. But this is what's in your firewood, along with the spiders that we've seen, and the mess that some of what you've seen in the video. Hope you enjoyed this video. The next couple of sets after this will be on burning the Envi block and the Envi 8 blocks. We're going to burn 3 cords the following season, and see how many vacuumings we get out of that. And take care.